Hey guys, what is up? We're back once again for another weekly chapter review of Katekyo Hitman REBORN, and we are at chapter 130. That has to be less than 300 chapters. Yeah, that's less than 300 chapters before the finale. Alright? And we are still 2 months away from the 20th anniversary, so there is that countdown from now till May 24th. Also, guys, you tell me who is planning to go to Japan between next month or May, and if you are, or are you planning to go to that exhibition, Akira Amano's exhibition? Okay, please do tell me in the comments below. So going from chapter 129, we know that it ended off with Suna trying to make a revised version of the 0-point breakthrough technique that was originally created by the first, or Primo, right? And we constantly see where Zanzis is berating Suna in the sense of saying that it's not the same technique. What he's doing is completely wrong. Now, of course, if you are very much new to the series, it will have you start to question what does Zanzis exactly mean by that, because how can he know of a technique that was created obviously 100 or so years ago and nobody in the current time was alive or knew of such a technique? Now, I will say that, like, if we go back to a couple of chapters, can't remember the exact chapter name, but if we remember when they were still in Italy, not them, but like soon as that Imitsu, and we had the small arcabaleno, Lao Mark and everything. Not only that, I think it was the fight between Hibari versus Golomoska, and then he tried to go after Zanzis. They talked about this certain incident, aka the cradle incident. Again, keep that in mind. Of course, it was not talked about in this chapter, but they said that what happened with the cradle incident and the coup d'etat and all that stuff that Zanza was doing towards the Vongola. Mind you, the Varya are the assassination group of the Vongola, so they still have, ties to the Vongola because that's who's hired them, and he is the son of the ninth. So once you take all these things together, something happened that Zanza's witness whatever the real 0-point breakthrough technique is, okay? And then on top of that, there's the cradle incident that happened almost 10 years prior to the current storyline, right? So 9 years to be like exact or something of that sort. So keep all of those things in mind, because once you see how he's acting from last chapter going into this chapter, mind you, the chapter is called Revised, with him being on the cover for chapter 130. So it's just like, once you see how he acts in this chapter and how agitated he's getting because Suna is using this particular incident, that ties into basically the incident that they were talking about, the cradle incident, the coup d'etat, all of that stuff, okay? So going into this chapter, of course, Suna is trying to make his own version of the 0-point breakthrough. So anytime you see him doing something like this, it ain't no gang sign, but like he's doing something like this, just so you know, that's the technique. Of course, he's changing it up, because once he was hit by multiple bullets by Zanzis in last chapter, and then he went through the negative state of dying will, basically dying without actually dying. So remember, not neutral state or zero is him being his regular self. Positive state is when he's in the hyper dying will mode, and then he goes through 0 to negative. So he dies for very momentarily and then jumps right back into the positive, aka hyper dying will mode. So once he did that, he was able to get the answers from his hyper intuition, okay, that you have as someone who is a direct descendant of the Vongola bloodline. So he got that and he was able to get the answers. So through the answers that he got from his hyper intuition, he basically said, okay, I get how to do this technique, but I'm going to put my own spin spin on it, okay? So while he's, making the signs for his revised version of it, we see where, again, Zanzis is continuously berating Suna. It's like he's trying to egg him on, but you can clearly tell Zanzis is, he's breaking a sweat. And what I mean by that in the sense of is like, what is this kid trying to do? Because he knows Suna is trying to do the technique, but in a way, I guess he's like, the way they're trying to portray him in this chapter is like, he's trying to reassure himself, because whatever this technique is, it has Zanzis messed up, okay? It's like he's, dare say, he's fearful of this technique. Okay, he witnessed it firsthand, even though, again, that may make you question a lot of things, but he probably saw, at least with the ninth, remember, he performed to go up against his own father for reasons we don't know. Well, you guys don't know. I know. Anyone that's read or watched the series before, they already know, but if you're new to the series, something happens between him and his father, hence why that whole incident happened. But his father may have used that same technique, and that's why Zanzis is trying so hard to put Suna 12 feet into the ground. Not 6 feet, but 12 feet into the ground. So while he's saying that, the real 0-point breakthrough does not have that pose, Suna rebuttals and saying that I'm making my own version, I'm going through my own way of making the 0-point breakthrough technique. Fair enough. It reminds me of, like, I'm trying to remember some character that made their own version of the same technique and it still pulled off results and everything. I'm trying to remember, like, in my multitude of series I watch over the years, and that's a lot. It'll come to me, and most likely it'll come to me after this video. Like, I'm picturing something in my head. It's like, it's very foggy. It's very foggy, but yeah. So again, he's like, you know what? I'm going to murk you, you prestigious little scum. I'll make sure that you never utter the name of that technique again. So he's trying to get at Suna. He shoots his gun so he can go very fast. And then he does hit Suna. And then once he hits Suna, he starts to blast him with the gun multiple times. Suna, again, went back into the negative state, then came back into his positive state. And this is when Zanzis starts shooting multiple shots. Of course, it's in Italian and everything. Suna does get hit, right? But Suna's not going down. Suna has this certain, like, you watch so much shonen series, particularly battle-oriented shonen. Shonen being a demographic, I just have to put it out there. It's not a genre, it's a demographic. Demographic targeting towards young boys 13 and up. Shoujo, vice versa, young girls 13 and up. Josei is for older women, 17 or 18 up. Seinen is males, 17 and up. Just put it out there. Those are demographics. Demographics, not genres. Genres is totally something different. It's basically the topic is being discussed at hand, okay? Overall topic, okay? But again, notable within a battle-oriented, that is shonen, that certain look, like that glimmer of hope, like they can't be put down, and that agitates Zanzis, right? And just before he can really shoot him, and he shoots him with a big blast, like, seriously, you thought Suna was done. He was cooked. Suna pops up behind Zanzis, right? And then Zanzis tries to evade, right? Once he's trying to evade, because first and foremost, Suna, during this whole duration of the fight, at first it looked like Suna was fast, right? But then Zanzis shows that, I outclass you, given the fact that, one, he is an older opponent, so he has been practicing and training with his skills and his techniques for a longer time versus Suna. Remember, compared to the two in terms of battle experience, Suna, the only battle he faced, like, that was actually life-threatening was, remember, we had the arc before this, the Kyoko land arc, right? That was Suna's only experience prior to this. No amount of training can be comparable to real life experiences where you're in actual battle, versus Zanzis, who is an assassin at the end of the day. He's the boss of an assassination group, so their battle experiences is laughable, if you will, right? So at first it looked like Suna was fast, then Zanzis clearly showed him. But now we have it where Suna is actually catching up to Zanzis and his speed, right? Then I guess you would say he axle kicks him in midair, right? And then he tries to get back at Suna. Suna, flashes a wall of fire at him. And then he punches him in the face, crashing him into the ground. And they're like, how is Suna able to do that, right? You come to find out by the time Zanzis shoots his gun multiple times at Suna again, Suna now absorbs it. So it's like this circle, right? After all the smoke is cleared, you see this circle around Suna, and then the circle is getting smaller and smaller and smaller to the point it looks like a circle is in between his hands, and then he just disputes the fire around him. Come to find out, this whole time, at least starting from last chapter going into this chapter, Suna is absorbing Zanzis' flames, hence why the 0-point breakthrough technique is revised for Suna. So now that he's absorbing Zanzis' flames, he's turning Zanzis' flames of the wrath, into flames of harmony. Okay? And he's changing those flames for himself. So now it's giving him greater speed, greater power, because now he's getting so much at the same time in exchange of Zanzis exhausting himself. Now he can catch up and hit Zanzis 10 times harder than he did at least within the middle of this fight. So they keep going at it, they're clashing and everything. Suna's just landing punches left, right, and center. Before Suna was getting body, he looked like he was getting something in the beginning, and then Zanzis was giving up the upper hand, and then now Suna said, nope, turn the tables again. It's my turn now, all right? So that's happening, and while we have that, remember, at the end of the day, the Guardians are trying to survive. So remember, with first Gokudera and Hibari were the first ones to wake up, or not even just wake up, but be given the antidote. So they're running around trying to give the antidote to the rest of the Guardians. So Hibari managed to find Yamamoto and then give him the antidote, even though he's like, I don't want to have anybody dying on the school premises. Mind you, this guy was also cut up by Belgafor. So he's very much exhausted, not only from the poison, but also getting damaged by Belgafor in their little scruffle. So Yamamoto, being the good natured guy that he is, he's like, how about we do a player slub and you rest, and I'll go find the others to give them antidote. Now we get into the next page where Gokudera managed to administer the antidote to Ryohei. And he's telling him, you're going to feel a little woozy for the time being while it's slowly getting out your system and repairing you. Just watch after Lambo, aka Stupid Cow, while I go find the others to give them the antidote as well. We have where even Ryohei is like, hey, Gokudera, before you go, how about you go give Lusaria the antidote? Now this may be a shocker because this is the same guy who tried to murder you in the cage, right? But knowing their boss and their friend Suna would have done the same thing. So instead of really putting up a fight, Gokudera's just like, yeah, you're right. Suna would have done it, so I'm gonna go and give the antidote to Lusaria, who's like, I'm in pain in the background. Now we pan back to the fight with Suna and Zanzis. Zanzis is on the ground looking rough out there, buddy. He's looking rough. He's upset. He's wiping off blood. He's not understanding or computing how the heck did Suna do all of this, right? Zanzis was thinking, Suna is just some everyday loser middle school kid who didn't know his place, should not be dealing with mafia-oriented details or anything. And he's right in that regard. Suna should not be dealing with this. But at the same time, this man is threatening not only Suna, but everyone he cares for, right? To make a mockery of Suna. And when you think about what he did to his own father, putting him in the Golomoska, using him and his life force to power the Golomoska and everything, and what he's going to do, possibly do with the Varya once he gets the rings and eliminates Suna and everyone close to him, you know, everything is looking like it's backfiring on him. So he's getting so angry, right? I do want to note that, like, as the panels are going through and he's continually cussing, we all know Zanzis has scars on his face. This is a trait that you'll see a few times without the manga, right? The chapter ends where the scars on his face starts to cover. Okay, from the scars from certain parts are connecting and it leaves like a huge scar on his face, and he's like, "You effing scum," and Suna's like, and it ends off on there. So you know, come next chapter, this man's rage and anger is his tipping point. This whole time he was so confident that all of this would have been easy, he wouldn't have no trouble, but this little 14-year-old is giving him the work right now. Like, he's not going down without a fight, because while he's trying to fight him in order to get the control of the Vongola, Suna's only fighting for the sake of protecting his family and friends. So two goals at mind, and obviously very vastly different personalities. But again, at the end of the day, you can also tell not only is this bugging him, but the fact that Suna dares to use a technique and try to change it up. Again, this technique, the 0-point breakthrough technique, is, if you would say, taboo to him, because you continuously see him getting angry and angrier the more Suna tries to use this technique. Because again, going back to several chapters ago when they talked about the cradle incident, and him going up against his father, whatever happened, to even him leading up to, again, that Hibari versus Golomoska, and then when Suna came back to the school and everything, and then he fought Golomoska, stopped it, and found the ninth in the bodysuit and everything. All of these points are eventually going to connect with each other, and this is why you see Zanzis just completely break at this point. Like, his anger, he was always presumptuous, he was always hot-headed, he was always looking down, very arrogant and everything, but this is just the tipping bird, or the breaking point for Zanzis, because nothing right now is going his way at all. Not like he wanted it to. He thought this was going to be easy, and call it the end of the day, no. And the fact, again, like I said, since Suna's using such a forbidden technique in front of him, there's going to be problems, okay? So guys, do tell me in the comment section below on how you felt about Katekyo Hitman Reborn chapter 130. If you have read the manga or watched the anime before already, of course, nil spoilers, but do tell me your thoughts on this chapter. If you are new to this series, how do you feel about basically seeing Zanzis just break by the end of this chapter, and just like, why does this bother him so much? Just what about this technique is getting under his skin, and what does these scars represent for him? Okay, and with all the other points leading up to this, what does this like represent? I would love to hear your thoughts down below. The links are in the description box, so you guys go check that out. And I'm Kimmy-chan, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.